Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. So I decided to do this video based on a comment from a longtime friend, Wendy Chavez. And she considers herself something of an anarchist. My views on anarchism, I just don't agree with. Now, as a socialist, I find that there are some similarities and some things that we can agree on. But anarchism itself means, reducing to eliminating, actually eliminating government control, especially over economics. Well, there are a number of problems with this, such as if you eliminate government control. I'm going to focus on human rights and economics. I'm not going to go into environment or anything like that. But just focusing in these areas. If you eliminate government control over the economy, well, part of that would be eliminating a lot of social programs, or all social programs. One big problem I have with anarchism is that it goes hand in hand with libertarianism. And I've said before, the greatest example of libertarianism, anarchism, is Libya right now. Why? Because if you eliminate any control over the laws, over human rights, over the economy, then you can wind up with slave markets in the streets. And this could be twisted very easily in such a way that that's exactly what happens. If there arises an industry, a slave industry in our country, which could happen. It's been here before. And there are proponents of it in our midst right now. So you oppose slavery. Well, now it turns into the argument that you're interfering with the economy and the government has no right to do that. All right. If you pay out Social Security, food stamps, you pay for Medicare, Medicaid, any kind of medical care, any kind of social support programs, you're interfering with the economy. So that has to be eliminated under the terms of libertarianism and anarchism, because you've stepped over a line. And all it takes is a capitalist, conservative federal judge, or look at the balance of the Supreme Court right now. What are the likelihoods? What's the likelihood that they would judge in favor of human rights? Look what they've done with, fracking. So there's a lot of problems that are involved here. When you start talking about minimum wage, libertarians are against the existence of the minimum wage. If given their way, they would eliminate child labor laws, all wage protection laws, OSHA, etc. So I just don't agree with the idea here. I mean, I agree with some things. You know, we do need to reduce the number of laws, expand human rights in this country, reduce the prison population. We still do need police and jails and prisons. They are a necessity. Without them, what would we have but vigilante justice? I have said to libertarians before that, without the government to protect your rights, you don't have anyone to protect your claim to any property. Someone could come in and steal everything you own. You don't have anyone to protect your rights against that. And it's perfectly legal because there are no laws, first of all, and no one to enforce those laws, and they're doing it for a profit. So even if the government exists, somebody's doing this for a profit. That's an economic issue, and to stop them would be stepping over that line. There could arise an industry to kidnap and harvest organs from, living, healthy human beings and sell them. And who is going to stop them? There's no law saying otherwise, and they're doing it for a profit. This is how these things could actually happen. So I just don't agree with anarchism at all. Now, anarchists and socialists can, join forces, because we all know at this point a revolution, an actual revolution, is coming. It is coming. And, the people on the actual left really need to join together. Now, with anarchism, it's going to sound offensive, but I find a certain naivete there, because they give a lot of credit to human nature, which really should not exist. If we eliminate the currency, well, first of all, how are we going to trade with other nations? Because that is based on currency. And even nationally, even locally, you're trusting people to be ethical in their transactions with one another. Well, if those ethics of equitable trade existed, it would exist right now under this system. The same people, the same kind of people that have no qualms, that are socialists, sociopathic in their very nature, would absolutely take advantage of other people. Anyway, back to revolution. Yes, we need a drastic, extreme overhaul of our system. And at this point, it has been made clear that it's not going to happen without an uprising. You look at all the things that are happening, and our government is moving further right, moving further toward authoritarianism, Yeah, we've been living under fascism, but it's reached the point where it is undeniable to anyone except for the most hardcore, indoctrinated people that cannot see past their, steadfast loyalty, which is blind loyalty. My country, right or wrong. Our government, and when they talk about our country, they're talking about the government. The government could come in and, yes, put people in FEMA camps or, prisons. We're already using prison slave labor. And they find this to be acceptable. For people to be shot down in the streets to be acceptable. How much further right can we go? I've said before, the taking down of web pages and is censorship. It is the modern version of book burning. But would we have anything better if we let private capitalists do the same thing? We can't. If you eliminate the government, you're still going to have a form of governance. But it's going to be private governance that is answerable, accountable to no one. Because there is nothing to stop them. You will have private armies on the streets, gangs. There is no way for this to work. I mean, even in ancient times, tribes would annihilate each other. We cannot idealize some anachronistic past of human beings. And society, because that ideal never existed. It never existed. And today, we have even less chance of that. With as many people as there are on the planet, and certain ones that will always hoard resources, then to manipulate others into waging wars for them so that they can hoard even more. Anarchism is not an option. Anyway, yes, we are headed toward a revolution, and I've said it before. I do not endorse violence. However, at this point, I've got to say that we're really at the point where in the near future, there's going to be no choice. I've said how many forms of violence are already visited upon us, imposed and forced upon us. Poverty, hunger, illness, lack of medical care, debt, etc., etc. These are forms of violence. And it's just that people are going to finally just see it that way and there are going to be instances, rising number of instances, where people are responding to this violence with violence, mass violence. We see the crime rate increasing. The violent crime rate and the property crime rate is increasing. So these are just isolated incidents. There's only a matter of time before these isolated incidents start coalescing into mobs. So if we want to avoid the greatest amount of violence, then yes, the socialists, the anarchists, the entire actual left needs to join forces, at least temporarily, to change this system. If there are enough of us to pose a threat, then the violence of the government, the system, the establishment, is going to be less likely to happen. 10 police with guns facing 1,000 civilians with guns are a lot less likely to fire a shot. So, some level of anarchism, I agree, it is bound to happen. But we cannot eliminate the government and just put the government in the hands. We need governance, we need laws, we need wage protections and consumer protections and social support programs. We need these things. As a society, these things are mandatory. Otherwise, we don't have a society, we just have chaos. Anyway, so please share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can, please donate $1 a month to help expand the channel, and I will catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.